back to our coverage here at GAMA 2016 in Vegas. Sitting with me right now, I have Sarah Miguel from Cryptozoic.
Hello.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. I see you have a whole pile of goodies, but
yes.
What would you like to start with?
We're going to start with Mad Science Foundation. So this is an original IP that we were able to obtain at Gen Con this last year.
Cool.
We're very excited about it. It's going to have a $25 price point, so I think it's a really good price point for everything that's in the game. So the point of the game is you are trying to become the most infamous mad scientists.
Okay.
And so in this game, your typical victory points are infamy. So you're trying to score as much infamy as you can. So the point of the game is to create inventions with resources. So you'll have resources like cryptomium, lasers, dark matter, sharks, because who doesn't love lasers and sharks? And they're all in varying scarcities as well, so that changes kind of a little bit of strategy.
Okay.
And then once you're able to build your inventions, you then have to have resources to then push the red button. And then gain infamy.
Very cool.
I know, who doesn't like pushing red buttons? So that's the main gist of it. What happens in the game, though, is it's an I cut, you choose drafting mechanic. So each round, you'll draw an invention and then resources. And then the crooked director, who changes each round, yes, and this is her nice little standee right here. The crooked director chooses each round. She'll separate the piles into however she wants. There just has to be, say for 4 players, there have to be 4 piles. There can't be 3.
Right.
And then, but she gets to pick last.
Of course, yeah.
So there's strategy in that. And then there are also additional resources that come into the game as time goes on. To begin, the crooked director kind of just goes clockwise around until the crooked director is pulled out of the resource deck. Then you'll get the overworked researcher, sorry. And that will have you pulling 2 inventions out per round instead of 1 because they need more things to do. You'll get your truckload of cash, which is essentially kind of a wild card resource.
I want my truckload of cash.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Your sassy AI, which will give you 2 infamy each time you pick it up. But that's something, if you want to deter someone from picking up a card, you might just put the sassy AI by itself.
Gotcha,
Things
right,
like
of course, to make it.
And then last but not least, we have the spy, who, if you obtain him in a round, you can actually place it on someone's invention, built or unbuilt, and it'll keep them from building it or activating it that round.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah, so then, these resources will go back to the center of the pile each turn, and then it'll start all over.
Sounds very cool.
So yeah, that is kind of the gist of Mad Science, and it's all original artwork. And my favorite, I always point this out, is the Saboteur, because they all have little quirks.
Oh, it's cute.
So the Saboteur, this one, at the end of the game, you get to choose an opponent and gain 1 infamy for each unfinished invention they have. So you kind of have little side quests going on while you're building all your inventions.
That's very neat. It looks great.
Quite fun. It'll be likely a Gen Con, San Diego Comic-Con release.
Wonderful.
Yep.
What else would you like to talk about today?
Well, let's go with Rick and Morty first. We'll just, for those of you who know Rick and Morty, we get some camera up here. This is a game based off of the Meeseeks and Destroy episode. So if you're familiar with Mr. Meeseeks, you'll know that they are brought into this world to help us with rather simple tasks, and they're not meant to be in this world for very long. So if you cannot complete the task at hand, you will typically call another Mr. Meeseeks. The more Mr. Meeseeks you have, the more hijinks ensue. The really cool thing about this game is it'll also be a collectible box. While this is just a prototype, the real deal will have a pushable button, like the box in the show.
Like a functioning button.
A functioning button that will have Justin Roiland voiceover, who is the voice of Mr. Meeseeks. And so he'll say classic Mr. Meeseeks lines, and that is also part of the game. So I'm really excited about it. If only just to see how much trouble I can get into with Mr. Meeseeks.
I suspect a lot.
Oh, obviously. And then, like the television show, this is more of a grown-up type game. It is called the Mr. Meeseeks Box of Fun Dice and Dares game, so there are some things that you'll have to do, so definitely more of an adult crowd.
Okay, that's great. I have a number of friends that are a big fan of that show.
I love it. We'll go ahead and talk about the Attack on Titan board game, The Last Stand. I know you were excited about this.
Well, it's by a designer, right?
Yes, Antoine Bauza and Ludovic Maublanc. They're very well-known designers. It's a different game for us in the sense that it's a one versus many, and it is as we refer to it, a tactical board game. So the board is actually a Titan that you will be climbing up
Wow.
So you will be playing cards for attacks and rolling dice to help accomplish those attacks. And the goal of the game is obviously to beat the Titan, while the Titan is trying to either destroy your supply depot that you're trying to survive in the last stand, or try and kill you. So, and thematically it's really great because you can make him vulnerable as much as you want, but you're not going to be able to kill him until you're up on his neck.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like in the show.
Yes. So we're really excited about this. Again, another Gen Con-ish release.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And it's one versus many, but how many will it play?
It's one versus many. It'll be 2 to 5 players.
Excellent. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What
and
else?
Then let's go Internal Affairs. So Internal Affairs is a secret identity game. You'll either be the Triad or the police force, and they have both infiltrated each other. So yeah, so we're trying to figure out who everyone is, and you have roll card. Oh, that's not a roll. There we go. We've got roll cards. So you'll either be, these are Triad, and then these are the police officers. And then everyone starts with 3 identity cards face down. You'll know what your identity is. Throughout the game, you're trying to figure out who else everyone is. Right. And you can do that by trying to guess their code that we've selected at the beginning of the game. So you'll have,
oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so you'll have a numerical code that you only know is face down. So I have 2, 9, and 15. And you'll want to put them as such.
Right.
So say someone hands me a 3. I will have to put it in the lineup face up where it would correspond.
Wow.
So now they know that everything to this side of it is either a 3 or lower,
right, or
everything to this side of it is a 3 and higher.
So a little bit of numerical deduction.
Yes, and then there are also action cards that you can play, like you can switch face down ID cards. So say I have these 2 face up. So it's a 50-50 shot at whether I am Triad or police. Okay. And you can also use an action to peek at someone else's. So say someone's seen that I am Triad. I am Triad. That's bad. I don't want them to know. So I can play an ID card where we swap to the other side, and they might give me another Triad. They might give me a police, but they don't know.
They don't know.
So, and then there's other things like you can look at someone's cards. You can avoid asking a question. You can ask an additional question. So it's a good social deduction party game that really makes you kind of think about it.
Yeah, and this is certainly different from a lot of these other social deduction games I've seen. So
yes,
cool.
There's a little, there's an additional layer of kind of complexity to it with the numbers.
Great. And this will play 2
This will play 3 to 8.
3 to 8, okay,
yeah.
Great. And this is a Gen Con release?
I believe so. Gen Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
We'll definitely cover the Meatballs. I know you're excited about those.
These Meatballs
are rad.
Pretty cool.
They're Mighty Meatballs.
Of course.
So these 2 were from New York Toy Fair. So they are the first that have been released. They will be 1-inch wooden figures. The first line will include 30 different Meatballs. So you've got your villains, heroes, Catwoman, Poison Ivy,
and they're
Hawk
all
Girl.
licensed.
They're
correct?
all licensed,
okay,
correct. Right. They'll be, I think, 1-inch in size, and then these ones are silver because they were exclusive. But like Superman will be red, Batman will have blue, so they'll be a little bit more thematic. And they'll come in a blind bag 3-pack for $2.99, or we'll be also doing additional SKUs of like Justice League Meatballs and so on and so forth. So those will be available also at Gen Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Awesome.
And then a couple other things to note. We're doing a poker assault game. This is by Ben Chikoski, who's done like the Versus system. And it is a push your luck poker attack game. So if you know basic poker hands, you can attack your player and then defend likewise. This will be at a $20 price point, and it'll come with 4 legal poker decks. So you'll have, and they'll be themed. So you'll have the Vampire Court, the Space Invaders, the Rocket Patrol, and the Wolf Clan. And then they each have special abilities as well that kind of theme. Like the Vampire Court is very life draining. So they'll suck life from you to heal themselves. The Wolf Pack can kind of, their cards can change suits. So very thematic in that regard. And then Cartoon Network Crossover Crisis. I know we were excited about this.
I'm a big fan of some of this stuff.
It is, I mean, and the best part is it takes Cartoon Network cartoons from future, past and present. So you've got Dexter's Lab, you've got Johnny Bravo, you've got Samurai Jack, but you also have Steven Universe and Clarence and Gumball and Adventure Time. The big thing with these is we're that's the little wrinkle because it is a Cerebus engine deck builder, so it is compatible with all of our other deck builders.
Okay.
We are adding a bit more of a social element to it. Like, if we take a look at Finn and Jake here, they pay 1 less to fist bump. So there are fist bump cards where you will literally fist bump your bros. There are also event cards that if you do not do them, you gain a weakness, and I'll get to the weaknesses in a minute. So like for this one, everyone in turn must act like a different zoo animal convincingly for 10 seconds or gain a weakness.
So it's actually like, I would have to act like
yes.
that. Okay.
It's getting you out there and getting you actually doing something.
Excellent.
Being a little bit more involved. And then the weaknesses, wherever those ran off to, different from before, they're all unique. They all have different text on them as before, where in the original, they were just -1 victory point and they had art on it. These are now no longer worth negative victory points, but it's something negative you have to do. Like this one, you cannot buy cards with cost 3 this turn, or you cannot smile or laugh this turn if you do gain another weakness, and you have to complete it before you can discard it.
Gotcha, okay. Very cool, and I like how, if it might be hard to see in the camera, but all the art seems to really align thematically with what the cards can do, so that's really fun.
They're fantastic, and some of the other abilities for certain cards, like the promo for this first print run, is Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab, and her special ability revolves around destroying equipment.
As it should.
Don't know how much more thematic it can get than that.
And I'm sorry if I missed it, but when will that be releasing?
This will actually be out April 14th.
Oh, so very, very,
yes,
really
next
soon.
month. Yes,
that's almost ready.
Yep,
Excellent.
It is almost here. We're very excited about it. And then last but not least, we're gonna give a little teaser into our next Ghostbusters, the board game 2.
Right, this was a big announcement.
It was, we just announced it. It'll be on Kickstarter sometime in April. We haven't announced the date yet, but we're very excited. This is just a quick look-see at some of the new tiles that will be here. And for those Ghostbusters fans, you'll notice there's some pink mood slime and ooze floating around. These are a little bit small. These are much smaller than that. These are just kind of prototypes that we've been playing with.
Alrighty.
But some additional things that you can look for in this next game are different kinds of slimes. So in the original game, there was just slimes and you'd lose actions.
Right.
For this one, you can lose 1 maneuver, 1 to hit, 1 to line of sight, movement. So there's a bit more variety in there, and that can change your strategy. You can also switch between proton streams and slime pack, or a slime blower. You'll also go searching through ooze piles. So there will be ooze piles on the map, and you will pull up things like an event, which I'll pull up an event card, or an equipment card. And those, so we've got equipment cards, which are used once per scenario, and typically 4 scenarios make up a campaign. So you'll want to wait and make sure you use it at an appropriate time. You can't just go, oh, I want to use my ghost bomb all the time, every round. Like, it's very important to make sure you're utilizing it when it's necessary. So we've got ghost bombs, the Spates catalog, ecto goggles, a proton pistol, just adding a bit more depth to the game. And then the events add additional win conditions. So it's not just revolving around closing gates anymore. There's additional things you're gonna have to do in order to win. So these are just a couple of the different events. So like this one is I See You. A giant spectral eye appears at this space. At the end of the next round, if there are no Ghostbusters within the line of sight of the eye, the event is cleared. So you want to try and avoid that. And then like you just want to get away. And then if it's a success, you gain an additional XP. If you fail, you lose 1 line of sight. So it's something else while you're trying to bust ghosts, like, oh no, like real life, you know?
Very much so,
yes.
Yeah.
And that's just the top tip of the iceberg.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I know that when that was announced, there was a lot of buzz around it, so it'll be interesting to see. And that hits Kickstarter in the relatively near future, or?
It's April.
April. Okay.
April.
So that's
we'll have
soon.
it. Yes, we have a date. We'll be announcing it soon.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you soon.